Got a little bit of duck, duck, goose going on. Um, First, talk about what's going on with Shakur Stevenson. You know, back in the 40s to the 60s, we had a group of black fighters known as Murderers Row. They used to fight in Oakland, California, and uh, there was a color barrier a bit before that, the late 1800s to the 19, let's say the 1910s, 1915s. There's also a color barrier where they never had a black heavyweight. Okay, I think the first guy to ever become a black champion. I mean, like in the general field of things was Joe Gans. Okay, he was lightweight champion, and that was back in 18 something. And we're seeing this happening again. We've seen this. I think Dante Boxing Nation covers this pretty well. But we've seen it in the case of the modern fighters today now. We've seen it many, many times. Bob Arum has protected fighters from other fighters many, many times. He's protected Oscar De La Hoya from Floyd Mayweather. He's protected Pacquiao from Floyd Mayweather. He has protected, recently, he's protecting Teofimo Lopez from Devin Haney. He's now protected. We've seen him protect Vasily Lomachenko from Devin Haney. Now we're seeing him protect Oscar Valdez from Shakur Stevenson. Like he's trying to save Oscar and get as much as he can get out of Oscar before he feeds him to Shakur because he knows Shakur is going to beat him. And this is not just with Bob Arum and Top Rank, but we've also seen this, with the WBC. Mauricio Suleiman making conditions so that Canelo didn't have to face Jamel Charlo. Okay, duck, duck, goose. We've been seeing this avoidance strategy. Canelo has changed weight classes because he didn't want to face Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo. He's done it now on two occasions. He's going to be fighting for undisputed against Caleb Plant. I'm going to say this right now, categorically. Caleb Plant is going to give him hell. Canelo would have thought that that was easy work, and he's going to find out that that's just not easy work. Like, Caleb Plant is not easy work, and if he slips up in any shape or form, Caleb Plant will beat him, and soundly. Okay, you can jump out of the fishing pan into the fire, but this homie didn't realize his Caleb Plant's a sleeper. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I know Floyd Mayweather he said that Canelo's a tricky fighter, which he is. He has little tricks up his sleeve. Don't get it twisted. He's really, really good. But Canelo might have miscalculated on this one. You be running from Demetrius Andrade. You've been running from Jamel Charlo. I'm saying figuratively he's running. I'm not saying that you can't really fully say that he ducked Charlo or he ducked Andre because of the level of competition he faced afterwards. But what I'm saying is you avoided these guys. You said that Demetrius Andrade is a horrible fighter. You said a horrible fighter. You're a horrible fighter. Then he goes and fights a fighter with the same style as horrible fighter, who we would call a horrible fighter too. But he has to because he wants to become undisputed. See, he did not face Demetrius Andrade at 160. That was the last guy he had to face to become undisputed. No, because Demetrius Andrade, you see, there's this myth about black fighters that, black fighters are the most difficult fighters in the world and they're the best fighters, American black fighters. Listen, this is the truth about the situation. You ready for it? It has to do with hard work and dedication. And your tutelage, what lineage, what pedigree you come from, what lineage you come from. Demetrius Andrade comes from a lineage of fighters who the information has been passed down to him. That's why he hadn't lost a fight since the amateurs. Okay? And Canelo looks at that and he's like, man, this guy, he never lost a fight in the amateurs. I see the skill sets that he brings to the table. Oh, no, that's a tough fight for me. Okay? But then here's the thing. He thinks because Caleb Plant is a white dude. He thinks because Caleb Plant's a white dude. It means that Caleb Plant hasn't gotten that tutelage. He hasn't got that pass me down. He didn't get that information. He's just about to realize now. He can't back out of the fight now. Okay, November 6th is coming right around the corner. He's about to realize he's going to get a serious dose of reality. Caleb Plant ain't playing. Caleb Plant is not playing. I can say it now because we are what, 5 days away from the fight? So I'm going to say right now, Caleb Plant is very likely to beat Canelo Alvarez. I can say that now openly. Right? Very likely to beat Canelo Alvarez. This fight, put your money on Caleb Plant. Remember, I said the same thing about Teofimo Lopez with Lomachenko. Lomachenko had the experience and everything. But there's certain things that make a fighter limited. And Canelo is a limited fighter. Just like James Toney is a limited fighter. I know how to beat Canelo. I solved Canelo already. And once Caleb Plant does certain things, he'll solve Canelo too. And Canelo's a hell of a fighter. Don't get me wrong. He's a hell of a fighter. Right? But there's certain things that he's limited with that allow him to be beatable. And if he only worked on those things, but he never did. He never worked on those things. He never worked on those things. That's all I'm going to say about that. So let me put it to you this way. Caleb Plant is going to fight Canelo in the pocket, and he's going to counterpunch Canelo. Canelo's a counterpuncher. He's going to counterpunch Canelo in the pocket. And Canelo's a very good fighter, but Caleb Plant has to fight Canelo in the pocket, as Mayweather did. He's not going to just be moving all around the ring. He's going to fight Canelo in the pocket. Now, people think that Caleb Plant's going to move all around the ring. You're going to see. You're going to see for yourself that there's certain things Caleb Plant can do. The only thing I hope he's working on is that overhand right, that he doesn't get hit with that flush like that. You know, he should be rolling and riding punches much better than he did in previous fights. He should be at his top of his game in that respect. But everything that Caleb Plant does is problems for Canelo. I'm telling you, Caleb Plant's a counterpuncher. That's what he does. You know, Billy Joe Saunders was also a counterpuncher, but not as much as Canelo. And Billy Joe Saunders was still getting tagged with punches by some other guys that he shouldn't have gotten tagged with. Like he was getting beat up and stuff. Caleb Plant has never really been beaten up like that. He's gotten headbutt. You know, he's gotten guys have hit him with overhand rights. But Caleb Plant, for the most part, is a defensive fighter. He is different to, he's just a totally different skill set and ability than Billy Joe Saunders. And I don't know, man. I'm saying, man, if you think you're gonna catch Caleb Plant like how you did in the face-off, you got another thing coming, man. That dude can do some stuff. So, Canelo thinks he's going to get him out in the 8th round. Bro, don't go in there with that mindset. You better go in there trying to win the fight on points. Because Caleb Plant is going to outpoint you. And he's not just going to outpoint you, because a lot of people always feel, boxers who outpoint other boxers because they can't get him out of there. That means that they're ticky-tack punchers and, they're just going for scoring points. That's not what Caleb Plant's going to do. He's going to impose his size and his strength on Canelo. He's the bigger guy. And like I said, and a lot of y'all don't believe me, he's going to walk Canelo down. Watch and you'll see. Y'all going to get shocked. I'm telling you, y'all going to get shocked in this fight. I said it. I'm predicting it. He's going to walk Canelo down. Canelo's going to be on the back foot. And he's going to have to use his defense in this fight. Right? And y'all going to be shocked. Because Caleb Plant is a totally different, he's a different animal. He's a different beast. He is a different animal. I maintain what I said. From the moment I heard this fight was made, I said, "Oh, this one's a good one. This guy can really give Canelo a run for his money. If Canelo win this fight, man, kudos to Canelo, because Caleb Plant is no joke. He is no joke. He doesn't have the experience of Canelo, but he compensates for that by having the right mentors. He got the right people around him. See what I'm saying? So that's what makes the difference. And a lot of what Caleb Plant does, y'all don't really recognize, y'all can't understand, y'all can't see because y'all don't think boxing. I seen what I seen and I know what I know. And I'm telling you, this guy is a problem. A serious problem for Canelo. Canelo's gonna have all kinds of problems in this fight. And y'all gonna understand why. I told you again, I'm gonna say it again. Canelo's an exceptionally great fighter. I mean, really, really great. He got a lot of wrinkles to his game, a lot of things, but there's certain things that limit him. He is a limited fighter. And Caleb's gonna show you that he's a limited fighter. He's gonna show you that. There are limits to Canelo's game. You know, just as there are limits to Lomachenko's game. I'm not gonna spell it out. Some things don't need to be said. You just gotta go watch it and you'll see what I'm talking about. Right? And certain guys with certain skill sets can exploit that. And Caleb Plant's one of those guys who has that skill set to exploit that. And it's not that Canelo has slow feet. He doesn't have slow feet. It's not that Canelo is not a tricky guy and can't set you up and set traps and do all kinds of tricky stuff. It's not that. It has something else to do with it. And you guys are going to see what I'm talking about. And he has great, by the way, he has great footwork. Canelo has great footwork. But there's just certain things in boxing that make a difference. All right? And it has to do with movement. Don't get me wrong. It has to do with movement. It has to do with movement. Okay? So we'll see, you know, how much Canelo can dictate, because he really thinks, because he thinks Caleb Plant's too green. He thinks he's going to do to Caleb Plant what Floyd did to him and get Caleb Plant out of there, and that's not going to happen. Right? What I'm saying is that this duck, duck, goose thing, where you avoid facing certain fighters. The thing with a lot of these guys who avoid certain fighters, you don't develop. You don't develop as a fighter. Every time you take on a challenge, you have to pass the test or you don't pass the test. And so Canelo's big blooper, his big screw up, was not facing Demetrius Andrade. You should have faced him right after you had finished facing Danny Jacobs. You should have taken on Demetrius Andrade. And you screwed up. So that's on you, because you're about to meet Demetrius Andrade plus a bigger, stronger version of Demetrius Andrade. You're about to face him. He's not southpaw, but you don't need to be. And if you get beat, Canelo, it's because you did not face Demetrius Andrade. You should have faced Charlo. You should have faced Andrade. So if you get beat in this fight, that's on you. I always tell people, don't believe all the baloney that people be saying about black fighters and all of that. It's about what you know in boxing. It had nothing to do with your race. It had nothing to do with your complexion. It has nothing to do with none of that. It has to do with your knowledge. Okay? Look what Tyson Fury did. He beat Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, who was ducked by Anthony Joshua, ducked by many fighters. Okay? Where did he go? He went to the Midwest. He went to the Crunk Gym. He went to Detroit. There are certain places where you go, where you learn boxing. And we all know the best fighters come from the Midwest. So where did Tyson Fury go? To the Midwest. You understand? It's got nothing to do with race. This has everything to do with the knowledge. When you grow up and you have to get that knowledge, you got to get that data bank. You got to get that download. So there'll always be certain fighters until Canelo go down into the Midwest and supplement some of what he learned with Reynoso's down in the Midwest. You got to get some of that too. And you're going to learn certain things. It's going to help you improve those other aspects of your game that your trainers can't supplement you with. Canelo. I'm talking right now, and I'm talking some serious boxing, because if Canelo ever get this video, now you know. If you lose to Caleb Plant, now you know why you lost to Caleb Plant, because you can get the information raw and direct from a trainer. Best guy, Emmanuel Stewart's nephew, Sugar Hill. Go check Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill will tell you why you lost to Caleb Plant. He'll break it down for you. Then he'll show you what you need to do. Because Caleb Plant, that boy been shopping around, been going around. His father didn't lapse. His father didn't sleep. He got the right trainers. He got the right people around him to support him and help him to develop that boy. That boy got all-round skills. That boy can do it all. He ain't lazy like Billy Joe Saunders. Hear me again. He's not lazy like Billy Joe Saunders. He's not a sleeper. He is not a sleeper. He ain't easy work. Nobody in 168 he's incapable of beating. Nobody. He beats them all if he wants to, and if he applies himself. He beats everybody at 168. Caleb Plant is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. That white boy, he did his homework. He's a student of the sport of boxing. There's a difference. Now listen. You know, they talk about teachers. You can't teach if you're not a student. You got to be a student of the sport of boxing first before you can say you are a teacher of the sport of boxing. You got to know boxing. Listen to me again. You got to know boxing. And you can't know boxing by sitting on your ass in the couch and just reading about it. You have to get up and get schooled and get taught by teachers in the sport of boxing. It means you got to get off your ass and you got to move to different gyms and different places and get tutelage from different people. I wanted you to understand what I'm talking about, because that's where your legacy lies. Your legacy don't lie in sitting down one place. You got to move. It costs a lot of money and sponsorship and stuff, and you got to get in touch with people. You got to pick people's brains. You got to learn. His father did that with him, Caleb Plant. When he heard Andre Ward was calling him, he went to see Andre Ward. You can't pay for that stuff. You cannot pay. You cannot pay to go see Andre Ward. That's serious money right there. The advice that Andre Ward gave him, probably simple advice. Nonetheless, you know, Andrew will be following that boy for a while. And I'm telling you, this is not no hype. This is not no hype. Caleb Plant is much more than y'all think. He got bad hands. We all know Caleb Plant got bad hands. He broke his hands a couple times. We know that. That don't mean he don't have no power. Okay? That don't mean he don't have no power. And that's what y'all getting tripped on. Okay? He tried to protect and preserve his hands just like Floyd. I'm not saying Caleb Plant is Floyd. Caleb Plant fight different than Floyd. But he come from the same school of thought. And he got the same sort of application to the sport. And you're going to see him evolve in this fight. He's not, you know, the last couple of fights you saw him fight with, you know, he fought with a lot more. He wasn't as composed, you know. In this fight, you're going to need composure. Of course, experience brings composure. Canelo has a lot of composure. He's very patient. He dissects his opponents. But he's limited, like I said before. What I mean by that is, and I don't want to go into detail about that, even though it won't change the situation. But all I can say is this. Manny Pacquiao, a great fighter, limited. Okay? Got all the skills like Floyd Mayweather, but limited fighter. Lomachenko, great fighter, but limited. You know? Once you understand what the limits of a fighter is, the fight becomes very simple, because now that's where you're going to go. You're not going to go where the fighter does very well and is very good at what he does. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to do that. However, you will, on your choosing, engage that fighter in that zone when you think you have the advantage. Which is why I said, and I'm going to say it again, that Caleb Plant will fight Canelo in the pocket. That is going to be a pocket fight. And the things that Caleb Plant do well, he's going to do well, and then he's going to do something else. He's not going to be in the pocket all day. Not going to be in the pocket all day. He's not going to live in the pocket all day. That's stupid. But when he does get in the pocket, he's going to be very effective in the pocket at what he wants to do. Diego Corrales was an excellent fighter, but a limited fighter. Thomas Hearns, excellent fighter at welterweight, but limited fighter at welterweight. At welterweight. I'm not talking about when he got the super middleweight. At super middleweight and light heavyweight, he was a complete fighter. But at welterweight, he was not a complete fighter. At super welterweight, he wasn't a complete fighter. Even when he got to middleweight, he was not a complete fighter. But when he was at super middleweight and when he went up to light heavyweight, he did something different. He did something different with his defense particularly. And particularly with infighting. And Thomas Hearns was pretty much unbeatable after that. Okay? So you have to understand where you need to develop your game. Canelo. There are certain things that you did not develop, and you still haven't developed very well. You know how to go get a guy within certain paradigms, but and you know how to conserve energy and conserve your gas tank. But there's certain things you showed me you're still not there with, and that has to do with in the pocket, and it also has to do with outside the pocket. Right? There's still certain things you're still not there with. You're working on, but you're still not there with, and those are the exact places I expect Caleb Plant to challenge you on where you're uncomfortable. And I expect him to take advantage of that situation to the max. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. You're going to have to make an adjustment. You're going to have to figure out how to make an adjustment beyond what your trainer has taught you. You're going to have to pull on your own intuition, your own ingenuity at that point in time. And so I saw this from a while ago. And now looking at Caleb Plant, what he's doing, I know exactly that's what Caleb Plant is going to be doing. He's going to be targeting those areas. People are talking about Caleb Plant's cardio. His cardio going to be fine. For what he wants to do, his cardio is going to be fine. This might be an easier fight for him than a lot of people think. And I'm saying this to people because it's not that I'm the greatest guy in boxing and I know all things. I don't know shit about boxing because I haven't fought professionally or otherwise. But I can tell you this. I know what I see. I know what I see. And I told you this is like Andre Ward versus Floyd Mayweather. And it is to some degree. Except Canelo is not as complete as Floyd. He's not. But he has come a long way from the first Floyd fight. Now, for those of you who said, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. Y'all said that Canelo would beat Floyd now. Okay. Well, we got Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is not Floyd. He's more like Andre Ward. But Andre Ward is a similar kind of fighter like Floyd in terms of attitude, mentality, in terms of defense first, even though he gets hit and other things. So here's a caliber of fighter that is potentially like Andre Ward. Similar mindset, similar approach to boxing, etc. So the question is, if Canelo has grown as much as everybody has said and can beat Floyd Mayweather now, because this is Canelo in his prime, blah, 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 he should be able to steamroll over Caleb Plant, right? He's supposed to be able, this ain't supposed to be no close fight. He's supposed to stop him, right? So if that's the case, then he should. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am not even mentioning no bones about this. That ain't going to happen. Never in 100 million years he's going to stop Caleb Plant. That's just not going to happen. Not if Caleb Plant comes in and does what Caleb Plant usually does. He's not going to stop him. And I'm going to add, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to repeat myself on here. Caleb Plant is going to walk down Canelo. Y'all going to get shocked when y'all see Caleb Plant bullying Canelo, and Canelo looks like the smaller guy, which he is. Y'all are going to be shocked. Y'all going to see Caleb Plant more like a Danny Jacobs. Y'all going to say, oh man, Caleb Plant, to me, Caleb Plant would be even more like Danny Jacobs. He's the bigger dude. He'd be even like the bigger dude. Danny Jacobs was the bigger dude against Canelo. See, what y'all don't understand is Canelo been beating these guys and busting up their arms and shit like that, swelling up guys' arms and breaking guys' eye orbitals because those guys made mistakes. Those guys panicked. Those guys were not sure of themselves about what they bring to the table and what they can do in that ring. He didn't do it to Danny Jacobs, and he's sure as hell not doing it to Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is well refined, very, very skilled, and he's a counterpuncher. That's what he do. That's what he do. The most difficult fighters in boxing. I'm going to say this. That's why Floyd Mayweather was avoided when he was Pretty Boy Floyd. That's why, when he became Money Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Bob Arum didn't want to put Manny Pacquiao in there with him. Okay, he wasn't enthusiastic about Pacquiao could have been stirred up to the hilt. It didn't mean shit. Why? A counterpuncher moves with your shots. A counterpuncher is not going to get knocked out like that. The really good counterpunchers, and we're talking about going all the way back to, guys like guys who knew how to ride and roll punches, like Burley and Booker and, Williams. These are exceptional guys from Murderers Row. They ride in your punches. They roll in your punches. You can be the hardest puncher in the world. Oakland Billy Smith was a heavyweight. Charlie Burley fought a heavyweight, and he was a middleweight. So you're talking about 160 pounder fighting a 180 something, 190 something pounder, right? That ain't supposed to work out. Oakland Billy Smith was supposed to kill him, but Burley knew how to ride and roll punches. Never got stopped in his whole entire career. Through some fights, but he never got stopped any time in his career. So a lot of you guys out there don't understand boxing. If you understood boxing, you would understand that guys with certain abilities and skills, you're not going to knock them out. You're just not going to do it. Reggie Strickland, as much as he's the most losingest guy in boxing, he got one of the most losing records ever. Reggie Strickland has never been stopped. And I highlighted him in boxers not know much about. He's never been stopped, ever. Why? Defense. He might have a lot of offense, but he sure as hell has defense. 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 Defensive fighters don't get stopped like that. The really good ones. I'm not talking about Wilfredo Benitez. Wilfredo Benitez, great defensive fighter, great footwork, upper body movement, etc. But his head was always along the center line, so he had to pull his head off center to do anything. Okay? So you got a good 1-2, you got a good jab, you're going to get him. But defense wins you fights. Now, the interesting thing about this, and this is why I said nobody gonna knock out Canelo either. Canelo has defense. You could put Canelo in tomorrow with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is not going to knock out Canelo. Why? He got defense. He got defense. Really does. He's really good. He's slick and everything. Okay? That's what makes this fight intriguing, because even if Caleb Plant is walking down Canelo, Canelo has that defense where he can slip Caleb Plant's punches. He'll come back with something, and he might miss it. He might even miss when he comes back with his counters. And Caleb might counter the counter. But at the end of the day, he has defense. And he is a counterpuncher. He loves when guys come to him. Except they're educatedly coming to him, looking to counter him as they're coming to him. That's a totally different story. Which is what Caleb Plant is. Caleb Plant's always looking to counter you. Always looking to counter you. So it's going to be an interesting fight. All right. And I'm telling you, man, Caleb got some stuff there, man. I'm just telling you from a boxing perspective. He got some stuff. He's got some stuff for Canelo. And Canelo is, if he thinks that Caleb Plant is, a guy that's a walkover or easy work or something that he thinks he's got down pat, until he enters that ring, he's going to realize Caleb Plant brings some other things to the table that you just haven't seen him bring out. And I'm looking forward to this fight for that reason. So, yeah. I just wanted to say that because Canelo did not face Demetrius Andrade. And I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say it to Canelo and his camp. Y'all should have faced Demetrius Andrade. Y'all was, talking down Demetrius Andrade. Oh, he's a horrible fighter. He's this, he's that. He's the other. Demetrius Andrade ready to fight you, ready to come up to 168 and fight you. Instead, what do? What do? You badmouth the guy. And you tell him, I'm going to F you up, mother effer. You tell his father that. You know what I'm saying? Disrespect the guy. Then you come to Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant give you back the same thing that you gave back, the same vibe you gave back to Demetrius Andrade. He give you back the same vibe, calling you an MFer. And now you want to pick a fight with him? Dude, it's called karma. It's called karma. What you feed into the universe, it's going to give you back. So when you didn't give Demetrius Andrade that paycheck, you give Caleb Plant the paycheck thinking he's going to lie down. He ain't not going to lie down. He's not going to lie down on you. You still got to face Demetrius Andrade. Just that this version of Demetrius Andrade is white and orthodox. Same kind of fighter. Same mentality. And this one has weathered some storms. So this one ready, and he's bigger than Demetrius Andrade. So you got a fight on your hand, Canelo. And it's going to be a hard, tough fight. You should have given Demetrius Andrade his shot. And I thought you would have beaten him. I thought so. I might have been wrong. Now think about it. You probably would have gotten beaten by him because you still was deficient in certain things. And Andrade is a complete fighter. He's complete. Not the heaviest hitter quitter, just like Caleb Plant. But he's a complete fighter. So, and he got a little bit more experience than Caleb does at the championship level. But you're fighting the same kind of fighter. I said Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andrade, they were similar kinds of fighters as well. The difference was Billy Joe Saunders was a lazy mother. He always looking for shortcuts. He always blowing up in weight. That's what cost him his cardio. Couldn't keep up after those body punches. His cardio. You suck the cardio out of him. And Callum Smith, he wasn't ready for Canelo. He was never ready for. He never had no inside game. Callum Smith had no inside game. See, when you fight a guy to the stuff that he's deficient in and he has to resort to something else, that's what happens. You gut him. And my boy, what's his name? Benavidez, I hope he's getting heads up on that because he thought Callum Smith would have beaten Canelo, and now he realized I need to work on my inside game. If you got no damn inside game, Canelo's going to carve you up. If you have no, I'm going to say it again. If you have no inside game, Canelo is going to carve you up like he did to Callum Smith. If you haven't been, you know, well conditioned, you're not a well conditioned athlete, he gonna tear you up like he did Billy Joe Saunders. And Saunders had the skill. He obviously he didn't have the confidence. He had the skill to handle a Canelo. He did. Definitely did. Just didn't have the cardio and the confidence. He started punking out when he realized he had to face Canelo. He was trying to find a way out of the fight. But now, Canelo, you facing a dude who's legit. This kid is legit, and that is Caleb Plant. He is legit. He applied himself to the craft. He is a student of the sport. That's a legit fighter. And you think you're catching them early, because that's what Floyd did. You think Floyd caught you early. That's what you saying. Oh, I was green when he faced me and blah, 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 blah. It's excuses. You was seasoned already. You was close to being a veteran of the sport already. You hadn't fight top as many championship fights and as many top tier fighters as Floyd had. But you was ready. Like you said, you just didn't know that there was levels to this thing. Real levels to the sport of boxing. And don't get me wrong, if Caleb Plant slips up and goes and does your game, what you want him to do, obviously you're going to be so way ahead of him that you're just going to totally dominate him. He's not going to allow you to do that. He's not going to allow you to fight your fight. He's not going to allow. He's going to make you react to him. He's going to make you react to him. You're not going in there and bullying him. That's not happening. So boxing, man, it's a beautiful sport. This is about Shakur, though. Oscar Valdez, Top Rank is organizing for Valdez to face the featherweight 130-pound, 126-pound champion, Navarrete. So they trying to get Valdez to face a fighter who really not really a good boxer. Don't have the fundamentals. So Valdez could chop him up, Navarrete, and making Navarrete come up in weight so that Valdez could look good. Because he looked bad in his last fight against Concierge. Looked terrible. It looked like Concierge won that fight, which he probably did. So they trying to make Valdez look good. So they want him against Navarrete. Shakur saying, chomping at the bit, saying, feed me him. It's like, just get unified. Move on. And in the meantime, I'm hearing from Dante's Boxing Nation that it seems as though Lomachenko wants no part of Shakur Stevenson. He's not even trying to get that fight. So apparently we're looking at Shakur versus the guy that Oscar Valdez beat, Burchelt. Shakur versus Burchelt. That's what it looked like is going to happen. And the reason why Lomachenko don't want no part of Shakur Stevenson is two reasons. First one is, dude, I got so much experience. I don't want to face a fighter who, you know, I don't want no tough fight. And two, you know, I want somebody who got some kind of reputation at lightweight. So he probably want to stay at lightweight and fight away. Because them guys is not Shakur Stevenson. I don't even know if he can make 130, to be honest with you. Come back down to 130, I don't know. But Lomachenko ain't trying to associate his name with nobody that could whoop his ass or potentially whoop his ass. I'm not saying that Shakur would 100% beat him, but I think he would. But I think those tough fights, those kinds of tough fights, which what's the reward in it? Like risk versus reward. Where's the reward? So in boxing, Guys always look at risk versus reward. Right? You heard that first mentioned with Larry Holmes. So Lomachenko's like, that fight make no sense for me. What am I getting out of that fight? Shakur's gonna get my name out of that fight. What do I get out of that fight? That I fought a young champion, two-time world champion. So he gets to build his resume off my name. That's basically what Lomachenko will be saying. So if you want to build your resume off my name, then you're gonna have to pay for it. So Bobby, are you ready to fork out some money for that? Because I gotta go down in weight. One, two. Y'all gonna hype it like that's my best weight when probably I've outgrown it. And three, Shakur's now forming himself. It's not like, Teofimo Lopez, at least he beat somebody, and he got something off my name. And then, am I getting a rematch clause? You know what I mean? So, Lomachenko probably had certain terms and stipulations he wanted. And, Barrow couldn't guarantee what needed to be guaranteed. So that fight ain't happening. Okay. Again, you can't be mad at Lomachenko because he's supposed to be picking shots now. He should be picking who he wants to face in his latter end of his career. Well, he only 31 or 32 or something like that, but still, nonetheless. Yeah, and of course, he wanted to rematch with Teofimo Lopez. That's what he really wanted. He ain't even interested in Shakur right now. He got Teofimo Lopez problems. He's like, I want to get back on Teofimo Lopez. That's what I'm staying at lightweight for. But he don't want to face Devin Haney to have that happen. You know what I mean? So all you had to do, Lomachenko, all you had to do was beat Devin Haney. Beat him, get the WBC belt. But you see, they sharks everywhere. There's Haney at lightweight. Shakur at super featherweight. He can't just go up and down. Them two gatekeepers right there holding him back. Otherwise, he'd be down in super featherweight right now. Taking on all them other guys. He don't have a problem with all them. It's those two sharks that he's worried about. He ain't even worried about Ryan Garcia. When Ryan Garcia, I think he ducked out the sport of boxing. He ducked Jojo Diaz now. Jojo might be facing Devin Haney. We will see if he will duck out of that too. I don't understand it, man. Hey, yo, Jojo, you should be making that fight like it was yesterday. I don't understand, man. You don't have confidence in your skills? What is wrong with you, bro? You have the game. The thing with Devin Haney is inside game. You have inside game. That's where you could win the fight. See if Devin Haney has developed enough of his inside game. That's where actually he got hurt by the Venezuelan guy, Venezuelan former champion, right? He caught him in no man's land because he's supposed to back out and he got caught. So why are you not making that fight? I don't understand. I don't understand. That's what you should be testing. You should be testing his inside game. Because Devin Haney, he's good fighting on the outside, but is he good fighting on the inside? And you could cut off the ring and see if you can make him fight on the inside. That's what you need. I thought this by now. I thought you figured that stuff out, and I thought that this fight should be made already. This should be a ready-made fight. Haney versus Jojo Diaz. This should be the next fight. I mean, come on, Jojo Diaz, man, make that happen, man. That's a winnable fight for you. I don't understand Jojo Diaz, man. These guys, I don't know if they have confidence in their skills and their abilities. We know Ryan don't have much inside game, so Jojo was like, I'm going to gut his ass for sure. But he's not very sure about Devin Haney for some reason. Don't get me wrong, Haney can fight on the inside. I've seen him. When he bullied Linares. He bullied him all around the ring, was beating him up on the inside. But he made one mistake. He made a mistake, and Linares capitalized on it. And I'm just saying, if he's making mistakes on the inside, that means he hasn't mastered it. And you have mastered it. And you can find those spaces and gaps to really tag him up on the inside to make him refine his inside game. If anything, even if you were to lose the fight, you definitely get respect because you have Haney on your resume. And if you make it close, even better. So, I mean, I don't understand. There is no losing by Jojo Diaz facing Devin Haney. There's no losing. It builds his resume. It makes him look good again. This guy faced the very best. Once again, Jojo Diaz. There's no downside unless Devin Haney knocks you out, which I just don't see happening at all. But there's no downside to Jojo Diaz versus Devin Haney. There's just none. Zip. That's a fight Jojo should be jumping at with both hands and telling Oscar to make that freaking fight. Make the Devin Haney fight. Stop screwing around with me and make the fight. Make that fight. That's a fight that Jojo, there's no downside to it for Jojo. None. None. You've lost fights before, so that's not a big deal. You're moving up in weight to lightweight. You was a featherweight. You was a super featherweight, yeah, but you was also featherweight. You were a featherweight. That's what you really are. So at the end of the day, if you perform and you bring a close fight against Devin Haney, or you make him fight you on the inside, and you, because you know how to slip to the inside and stuff, and you're just your combinations, the way how you work the inside, I can't see how that fight can't. That's a fight that I favor you to win, actually. Haney got to show me something to show me that he could beat you. Two, I just don't, honestly, I don't get it. But two, the other thing about it is, because I think you are a problem for everybody in the, just watch your cardio. Make sure your cardio is on point. But you're a problem for everybody at lightweight right now. I don't know, man, Jojo, man. You make that Haney fight, man. Make that Haney fight. Make sure the conditions are right, but make sure you got that Haney fight, man. Nail that down, because you should get first dabs at him. I know he's not gonna blow you out. Once you can slide to the inside, which you did against Fortuna, I can see you doing that against Devin Haney. He gonna have to stick and move, stick and move, stick and move, and he's not gonna do that. He's gonna mix it up with you. I know it. So I need to see it, man. I need to see this shit. I really do. This is a good fight. And both of y'all on this zone. I don't understand, man. Duck, duck, goose. Duck, duck, goose. Confidence. You got to have confidence in your skills and abilities. You know. And you should stay consistently training in the gym and everything. But you got mad abilities, man, Jojo. You mad abilities, man. They say you can't punch and all of that. It's bullshit. You got mad abilities, bro. You shouldn't be on the shelf right now. You should be active, fighting everybody. Haney. Then you should be fighting whoever else. Loma. Everybody. You know, you should be a guy that just fighting and getting paid. I don't understand. I don't understand. But Jojo's a very, very good fighter. Very good fighter. You know. Whatever. We'll see how it goes down. But this duck, duck, goose, it don't look good on none of you fighters, man. It don't look good on you fighters. I know Haney the truth. I know that. I know Javante Davis is the truth. I know that, you know, Jerome Ennis is the truth. Ain't no ifs or buts. Maybe. I see how sharp that boy is. That boy's super sharp. Super sharp. Super sharp. He got rid of Thomas DeLorme like he didn't even exist. Like he got him out of there in the first round. Thomas DeLorme couldn't figure out the angles that he was coming with. He went southpaw on that boy. He was orthodox, first of all. First he popped the jab to make sure he had him. And he was catching him with the jab. And he knew that the game was over already. You know, the game was over. That fight didn't go very long. I'm saying right now, Jerome Ennis is the truth. It is what it is. Skills pay the bills. This guy is ready for the top fighters in the welterweight division. People say move him along slow. You can do that if you want. But this dude is ready. He's ready to take over. He's sharper than Terrence Crawford. He's as sharp as Errol Spence, or sharper. And the thing about this guy is, like, he can switch it up and get that angle on you. You know, he's strong. He's a big fucking welter. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he's a real big welter. He's like, you know what dimensions he have? He's actually a little longer than Sugar Ray Robinson, and he's a little bit, and he's about as tall as Sugar Ray Robinson. So this, I mean, Jerome Ennis is going to be a problem for everybody. He can fight on the inside, he can fight on the outside. He knows how to control range. And then on top of that, he can get those extra angles by switching. And that's special. I mean, I've seen Tyson Fury, I've seen even Floyd Mayweather switch to southpaw a couple times in fights, but they don't do it on a regular. They don't do it on a, just casually go to southpaw, casually go to orthodox, and fight comfortably in either stance. Terrence Crawford do it, um, and Jerome Ennis does it. You know, and they don't have to think to do it. They just do it, and so this is the new breed of fighter. New breeds of fighter, you're gonna see them switching it a lot. They're gonna be using those extra angles and opening up boxing a lot more. So that's gonna be intriguing. I told you all about guys like Roy Jones Jr. used to do it. You'd switch it as well. Roy Jones Jr. could fight from the orthodox to southpaw stance, and then on top of that, he could switch up the lead hand. So he could switch up, from going from using a jab to using the lead right. You switch up the lead hands. Now we've seen guys not only doing that, but they also switching up stances. So that's just, I mean, it's insane the kind of stuff that these dudes have been doing now. It's just like it's next level stuff, and we talking about at the highest level, sharp as ever. I mean, I've never seen boxers as sharp as the boxers today. The boxers today are super duper duper sharp. And I guess it's the sports medicine and all of that stuff that they have available to them, but they real sharp. Whatever they do extremely well. Like old school fighters wasn't like as sharp as these guys. So there's a lot of things that I want to say that like a lot of people don't realize. And boxing is more of a science now. What I mean by that is like they literally have specific training regimens, and they've been looking at past fighters, what made them great, what made them good, and now you can almost manufacture someone through the schooling and the sweet science. You can actually get them to become a great champion or a great fighter. So it's totally different now than ever before. And again, for those of you who don't know, check out Coach Barry Robinson. He was a Million Styles Boxing. He was Dare to Be Great. He's back to being Barry Robinson. Check him out. He knows the formula. We also got Coach Eric Bradley, who's making champions, amateur, and now he's going to have pro champions. Watch out for Coach Eric Bradley as well. And these guys give you not just the boxing aspects of boxing, but the business aspects, the amount of people you need behind you, the support systems, the financing, and etc. They give you a complete picture. So check those guys out. I'll always what you need is always promoted those guys. I saw virtue in them from the day one, and I realized this is real boxing that they do. And what I say to you guys is not real boxing. Like I can't even tell you how real boxing is nothing like what I'm telling you guys right now. I'm just telling you from a fan perspective, but a fan that's educated a bit on the sport of science, on the science of boxing. Well, when we go into actual doing and just the particulars and all the particulars of how to develop a fighter and develop oneself is totally different. He's a completely different picture to what I'm painting for you guys. But I give you guys general mapping and just general scenario. Boxing is so deep, it's not funny. And some people say, well, it's a difficult sport. It's a difficult sport in the sense that the repetition you got to do and the training and the drills are very demanding, and your body has to get used to it. And it's just a lot to the sport of boxing. Right now, I haven't been boxing for a couple months. Well, so I and you can see I've gotten fatter and bigger and everything, right? So, but what I can tell people is that it's a great, great, great sport. And if you ever get into any kind of competition whatsoever in it, you'll appreciate so much more what the very best in the sport have been able to do and accomplish. But yeah, we got some duck, duck, goose going on here, man. We got some duck, duck, goose going on in boxing. I'm using it very loosely, but nonetheless, duck, duck, goose going on with these dudes, And it's just amazing how they really think, they buy into the myth that black fighters are the best fighters in boxing. They're not the best fighters in boxing. Tyson Fury disproves that theory. Alexander Usyk disproves that theory. Teofimo Lopez disproves that theory. Listen, man, you got to be confident in your skills and abilities, and you should be ready to face anybody, anytime, any place. The only thing is, I understand that fighters want the biggest and best fights possible. And Teofimo Lopez, I'm gonna say this to you, bro. After you face what that kid name begin with K, whatever his name is, the Australian kid. If you get past him, try to get the biggest and best fight at lightweight, which to me is Devin Haney. It's either Javante or Devin Haney. Go for it. Make sure. Tell Bob Arum this is the guys I want. I want either Javante or I want Devin Haney. One of them two I gotta get next. I gotta get next. But what you gotta do is you gotta be sensational. You gotta Carambosa's dude. He hungry. You know he hungry. But to me, Carambosa not that heavy a puncher, but nonetheless, he's a busy fighter. I thought Lee Selby beat his ass actually. But he hungry, so you're gonna have to be hungrier. And if you could smoke his ass, if you could knock him out, a sensational knockout, that'd be great. I don't know if you can, because the dude is dogged and he really hungry for this fight. So I don't know if you can knock out Karen Bosos, but if you could make a splash, even knock him down or something. Make a competitive fight, but knock him down. That would be great. Because here's the thing, Tio. Tio, you got so much ahead of you, bro. And you have some really good ideas. And you really spiced up the sport with all your flips and stuff and your little dances and stuff. And I hope you keep those things going. But as a fighter, I just want to say this as a fan to fighters, and I appreciate Teofimo Lopez, by the way. He trash talking and all that stuff. I know he chirping, and that's fun too. But to be honest with you, Teofimo Lopez, man, we need the biggest and best fights out there. You got to be going for the biggest and best fights. Make the biggest and best fights. Listen, bro, you in charge of your life. I know Bob Arum, saying, Tio don't know what he's saying and stuff, but keep on talking like that. You want the biggest and best and the biggest fights. Again, biggest, best fights. It's about the biggest, best fights. It's about the best facing the best. And it's the biggest and best fights out there at lightweight. The biggest and best fight is Teofimo Lopez versus Javante Davis. Bruh, you got to get those numbers up. You got to get those numbers up. Chirp like a mad. Talk plenty shit. Let Carambosa know you going in there and knock his ass out. You know what I'm saying? Listen. You are the king of the throne, yes. But you got to get people to come see you. What good is a king if he ain't got no kingdom? What good is a king and ain't nobody there? So you got to get, because you want the biggest and best. Listen to me. This is what boxing all about. This is what brings attention. This is what brings the casuals. The biggest and best fights out there. Teofimo Lopez does dances after he's done at somersaults from video games. That's what you do. That's who you are. You an entertainer as well as a boxer. That's what you bring to the table. Keep them dances coming. Keep them dances coming. And remember, the biggest and best fights. Right now, Javante Davis, he be selling out shit. You want for Javante, you want to call some shots. You want to say you was the king of the division. You want to say you the shot caller. You got to start selling, bro. You got to start selling the biggest and best fights out there. You got to have a gimmick, and you have a gimmick. You're very entertaining. You're very exciting. The biggest and best fights out there. That's what we want to see. Rolly Romero, man. Rolly Romero put himself in a position, and all of a sudden we hearing, assault charges and sexual assault and stuff like that, which I feel they just do that to cancel the fight between Rolly and Tank. I don't know how, but Bob Arum and Al Heyman and those guys, they seem to sabotage certain things when they don't want certain fights to happen. And apparently Rolly, dude, you was just a victim to these rumors and allegations, which I bet you are not true. And even if they are, probably other boxers are doing the same thing. But Rolly Romero, man, I'm so sorry that you didn't get that Tank fight now. But it might work out well for you because you might have been stepping up to too much you could have handled. Tank was probably going to knock your ass out. You was probably going to get knocked out. But nonetheless, and Floyd probably trying to save your ass. So they circulate something in the media, but they know it ain't true. To get your ass out of that situation. I'm telling you, Brawley, you was talking a lot of smack, and I know you got bricks in them hands, but boy, you ain't ready for Tank. You're just not ready for Tank, homie. You're not ready for Tank. Tank would knock you the hell out. Tank would knock you out so bad. He would knock you out so bad. Bro, that's a blessing that you got out of that fight. They protecting you. They protecting you from Tank. I'm telling you right now, Tank would kill you. Tank would destroy you. You're not ready for Tank. You're just not ready for him. A pity, really. It's a pity, because I would have loved to seen it. Just to see you get knocked the fuck out. Oh, man. I don't think you would ever talk again. Maybe you would. Maybe you would talk. Because Raleigh, that was a suicide mission. He was going to run right into that left hand. Right into it. Boom. Or maybe he hit you with a body punch and you'd have go down. You'd have gone down. You'd have gone down. The bully would have been bullied. Tank can box, man. Tank's a whole other level. Tank need a proper opponent. You know, I think Tank should face. If y'all really want to know, and he got a little buzz on him, but he's not really, he got a little buzz on him. Reggie Prograis. That's a guy, I think, that's a really, really, really good opponent for Tank. Because Reggie Prograis is a skilled southpaw. He does get hit, so that's not good. But he's a skilled southpaw. He's big. He's strong. Sparred the Chalos and stuff. He got a really good history and everything. Put him in with Reggie Prograis and then put him in with Josh Taylor. Prograis and Taylor. And listen, I don't want to hear nothing about no promotional issues. If the fighters want to fight, they're going to make it happen. If they really want to fight, they're going to make it happen. And screw the promoters. Your job is to promote the fighter. That's what you're supposed to do. So, Tank, if you want to call the shots, this is who you really want. Let it be known. Mayweather Promotions is there to help you. Of course, you should listen to their advice and counsel, but at the same time, they're there to help you. You picked Mario, what the guy named? Mario, I forgot what his surname is. You wanted that fight. And you got it, and you showed everybody you great. Now you're going to have to push your ass harder than you ever pushed it. But Reggie's Prograis, you get past him, you definitely going to beat Josh Taylor. But you got to, see, Floyd want to push you. He wants to push you. But do you want to be pushed? Do you want it? Do you want to push yourself? That is what is the problem. If it was up to Floyd would have had you in there with Keith Thurman right now. You would have been beating Keith Thurman's ass. But do you want it? Do you really want to be great? Do you want it? Tank, do you want it? That's what I want to know. You got to want it. I see you calling out Josh Taylor. I see you calling out Teofimo Lopez. Them the guys you want. But you got to think outside the box. You got abilities beyond that. So when Floyd stepped up to the table and said, let's have him against Keith Thurman, you should have said, give me Keith Thurman. You should have said that. But what did you say? They think I'm Superman. Come on, man, homie. You got to push it. You got to push it. You got to push it. Because we know you can fight at welterweight. We know this. We know your power is going to carry up to welterweight. We know this. We've seen you hurt welterweights. And for you to jump up to welterweight, fight a welterweight, beat a welterweight, one of those top welterweights, and then go back down in weight early in your career like this would be phenomenal. But you have to be able to decide to be able to get there, and to do that, accomplish that, means you got to go through a whole new set of hell. A whole new set of hell. Are you willing and ready to do that? That's the question. Because the preparation is going to be hell. We all know this. It's going to be very difficult. You're going to have to push yourself to the absolute max. Might break a couple things in the process. But at the end of the day, you make history. You'll be greater than Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao didn't do that till way down in his career. You'll be greater than Oscar De La Hoya. You have to think about what it is you're capable of doing. And if you're living up to your potential, and if you're improving day by day, and if you're taking challenges, you have to know what weight class. I don't think you can fight at super welterweight. But I think your peak weight is welterweight. And there's some big welterweights there. Your peak weight from 130 to 147, Tank, going up and down in weight like Amanda Serrano. Well, maybe not down to 130 anymore, but you're talking 140, 147. Probably is where we'll end up being. 140, 147, 140, 147, 140, 147. And you dominate. You pick select guys in 147 to face, but at 140 you dominate like Aaron Pryor. That's what we see. That's what we see. We know you peak out, you top out at 140. And every now and then you do a 147 fight. Keith Thurman, he sells out. He draws numbers. That's why they wanted you to face Keith Thurman, because he actually sells. People actually come to see him. So that was a good matchup. He's a draw. And he got pedigree and he got history. But you got to see it. You got to believe. If you don't believe that and you feel you're pushing you too far, then, bruh, everybody could see it. Everybody could see how good you are. The question is, do you? And are you willing? Because this is about winning. Do you want to win more than you want to breathe? Are you willing to be great? Truly great. Face a very good fighter who is established and beat him. This is the things that Mayweather want to do with you. And we know this. Mayweather, if he had a choice, he would push you to the max. But you're not him. He built a tremendous legacy, and then he gives you an easy fight or whatever, in between or whatever. He wants to stretch you. He wants to stretch your abilities. He wants to stretch you out. And he knows what kinds of matchups to put you with to stretch you just far enough. He knows what it takes. You're his investment. You think he's going to throw you down the toilet? Come on, man. You gotta be confident in the process, man. But we know what it is. We know it's Tank that holding it up. Now I heard some rumor that Tank saying how you want to leave Mayweather Promotions. Bruh, come on, man. You with good peoples, man. You with good peoples. Mayweather Promotions is good peoples. They're handling your business for you. They're making you this big superstar. Don't do that yet. Don't leave them yet. Trust the process. They don't find somebody for you. But Reggie's Prograis, man. Tank versus Reggie's Prograis, that's a good fight. I don't know who would win. And that's what makes it a good fight. Because Reggie's Prograis, he's bigger. Well, at least he's fought at a bigger weight class. And he carries his power. He really does carry some kryptonite, some tremendous power. And so does Tank. It would be about boxing skills, obviously. That's a very good fight. All day, all day, all day. That's a better fight. Let me tell you, that's a better fight than Tank versus Teofimo Lopez. That's a much better fight than Tank versus Teofimo Lopez. I'm telling you all that right now. It's not a title fight. But Regis Prograis is a much better fighter. than Teofimo Lopez. In fact, if Teofimo Lopez faced Regis Prograis, I got Regis Prograis beating Teofimo Lopez's ass. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. See what I'm saying? Prograis can fight, and he can box, and he's a heavy, heavy hitter. Heavy, heavy hitter. He got heavy, heavy hands. Prograis can go all the way up to 160 and knock fools out. Okay, so Prograis is heavy hands. And that tells you a lot about Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor is not what people think he is. That boy, he's 5'11", I think he is. He's long, he's strong, he's wiry, and he can punch. Okay? And he can box. So he's not no joke. That's why I said if Tank can face Regis Prograis and get past Regis Prograis, I know for a fact Tank would face Josh Taylor. And I don't think he's knocking out Regis Prograis, by the way. I know for a fact that Tank would face Josh Taylor and he could beat Josh Taylor. But until then, there's no way I'm saying that Josh Taylor is getting beat by Tank. It's not happening. You got to show me something. You got to go through a crucible to let me know, okay, this guy ready for this guy. Because Josh Taylor is not a guy you're going to just knock out just like that. He's a big, strong. He actually should be at welterweight right now. 140 pounder. He's solid. Okay, and southpaw, and he got skills. That's a tremendous combination, and he can infight. So he's a problem. Okay. Anyways, people, man, what you need, getting out of here. It was all about Duck Duck Goose, and I just want to talk a little bit about the Duck Duck Goose thing. You guys can leave your comments, smash the like button, etc. Don't forget you can donate via Western Union MoneyGram. Yeah, the video is long ass video. I don't care. What you need always be, you know, what you need to be always trying to give you guys the best of boxing that what you need knows how to give you. I'm gonna catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace. Oh shoot, I gotta leave you all with one piece of scripture. Just one piece of scripture, okay? Get you all with one piece of scripture. Alright, yeah, over here. Yo. Okay. All right, this is very simple. This is a law of life, law of the universe, law of whatever you want to call it. Give generously, for your gifts will return to you later. Divide your gifts among many, for you do not know what risks lie ahead. I think I've read this to you guys before. This is from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. I think I've read this before to you guys, but let me just break it down real simple. When you give out something, which is called a gift, named after giving, when you give something, okay, anything you put out into reality always comes back to you. Recently, I blocked somebody on Facebook, right? I blocked the guy because he's annoying. And somebody then turned around and blocked me, right? If you really pay attention to life, everything that you do and you put out there, at some point something comes back exactly the same way on you. It's kind of like waves of the sea. When they roll in with the tide and then they roll back out to the sea. It's very much like that. Okay, we call yin and yang. It's a balance where whatever you put out in life is what you get back. All right. But they're telling you how to put it out in life. So they're saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Invest or divide your gifts among several people. Meaning, you're not just trying to do that. And this is the thing. If you look at people who always do good, they always doing good, they always helping people, they always generous or whatever. They never lack anything. That's the first thing. They may not have money, but they never lack anything. People always are giving them back something. And the other thing about it is, And I've done it also when I'm selling on the road, etc. If I, blind somebody, all of a sudden my money comes back to me. It's like I never lost money, right? But you also realize when you do it multiple people, what you end up with is almost a multiplication of returns. So every time you give, the more people you give to, is the more stuff comes back into you. You see what I'm saying? That's why they said divide your gifts among the many. So this is a principle of life. It is a principle of life. Whether you're religious, whether you believe in God, whether you don't believe in God, whether your concept of God, what is your concept of God, it doesn't really matter. This is just something that happens. Okay? There are no exceptions to the rule. And if you really pay attention, you're going to see whatever you put out. Okay, for example, I'll give you another example of it. And this is giving of yourself. When you speak to God and you say, Lord, please help me with this, or I want to do this, the request goes out. And as is expected, the request comes back. Somebody will ask that of you. So if you ask of God X, Y, and Z, I want this, or I want patience, or I want this, but somebody else is going to come back. So if you say, Lord, I would like to have a good dose of patience today. God's going to put a situation in it where you have to be patient. But on top of that, somebody else is going to come to you wanting patience from you. No, not just patience in terms of manifesting, but they're going to be like, why are you so patient? You're such a patient person. I like that. I really like that attribute. And you're supposed to bless them with the patience that you just received. So it's not just limited to things coming to you, but it's stuff for you to give. You always get things to share. You don't get things just for your own personal use. God always gives you an overflow. So he always gives you back so that you can share with other people. So there's that extra added responsibility to, as they say here, divide your gifts among many. Now, I can go pretty spiritual with some of you, and I think I just might as well. So we have things called spiritual gifts. Spiritual gifts are things that can be manifested, like I'm talking like phenomena, like there's the gift of prophesying. You can share your gift with other people, meaning not only would you prophesy, but you could actually share the gift of prophecy with another person. You can actually transfer some of your prophetic gift to other people. You have the gift of healing, where you are able to lay hands on somebody and you heal them through the name of Jesus. And you can also divide that gift and give it to as many people as possible, and they'll have it for a temporary piece of time. There's also the gift of, say, discerning spirits, where an impartation was given unto me after I believe some evil spirit was cast out of me. And I was able to see, witches and warcraft and demonism and all this stuff. And I could see all the spirits and all that kind of stuff. It was imparted to me for a period of time. And so what I'm trying to explain to people is that what people call the paranormal and seeing the paranormal and all this stuff is there are different giftings that different people have. There's the gift of discernment, where someone just has great discernment. They know exactly what this person's thinking in their heart and etc. And that gift can be passed on to different people. So spiritually speaking, and these things really do exist, okay? They actually happen. I've experienced it multiple times. So these things like impartation of gifts and all of this stuff is also a multiplication effect. So once you give off that gift, the gift is reinforced and you get more. It's kind of like investing almost, where you get talents. Like some guys, they had talents and they went to different bankers and they invested different of their talents into the different bankers and they got returns for it. It's pretty much the same thing, except the key is not to get the returns. The key is once the returns come to you to distribute them again so that you have flow. And the more you can get more outlets to distribute to, is the more stuff will come to you so that you can distribute it. See, power was never to be consolidated. It was never to be gathered. Power will come to you no matter what, right? You have the power to live, and that you can distribute to different people in different ways. So power was never the issue. The issue has always been what to do with it. Okay? So, especially if you are, say, born again and you are a child of God, then you have a lot of power and responsibility. And it's about designating that power and distributing that power, which is most important because that's where the power lies, in the distribution of it, not the consolidation of it. So I always try to explain to people it's not about gathering money. I have I all around me are successful people and prosperous people. My neighbors are very prosperous. And one thing about my neighbors I've noticed is they're very generous. They give without thinking. They're always trying to give. And their generosity obviously brought about their prosperity. Because this rule here is what allows them to be where they're at. So the more you interact with more people and help more people and just simply spread more of yourself with other people is the much more you guarantee that in a time of crisis or in a time of difficulty, you will be able to be bailed out of that situation because of reciprocity, which is a law. And that reciprocity is what I'm trying to explain to people is not just for your personal benefit, because by nature you always like to distribute things so that whatever you get, you will try and distribute to help as many people as possible. And that is the whole point behind the thing. Okay? That's how we have a happy world. So it's the people who see needs in other people and people needing things and they supply these needs. These people always have. They'll always have. It's just the way how that law works. So that's Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. And I do hope that you guys have a blessed day. I hope you're blessed by this long video. If you've watched it all the way to its end, remember that you can always speed up my videos to 2x so that you don't have to see my ugly mug for very long. And it also cuts the time of the video. So if this video is, say, for example, right now, it's about 80 minutes long, it'll be 40 minutes long at 2x. And I talk slow enough that you should be able to follow what I'm saying. So I'm going to catch you guys later. What you need in the building. Y'all need some physical soul food, don't you? Yeah. So I dropped some of that on y'all. Not physical, sorry. Some spiritual soul food. I dropped some on y'all. And I'm going to catch y'all guys later, all right? Peace. I'm out.